This one's for you 4.6 guys or just people in general who want to do a power steering conversion on these older F100s. Now, the steering column and the plate were power steering originally from a 75 F250, I believe. I'm not sure what the donor was. Now, they do have this shit plastic support. They call it a bearing, I guess. It's not. And then it had a rag joint. So what I did is I cut the rag joint off. I did have to trim this down a little. Basically, I just had someone sitting inside the steering wheel spinning it while I did a grinder. Enough to get this one. One end is a 750-36, which is the exact same end as a 750-36 on this one. So these two ends are exactly the same for this power steering, which came off the truck that came with this one, 74 F250, I believe it was. And the difference is that this one is a 100-DD for the larger input, and this one is a 750-00 for the smaller. This is a solid bar. This is a high carbon steel with an insert inside just to double wall it. So originally, the power steering pump, or the power steering gearbox was here, which this was not a power steering, but the box was here. With this bigger motor, I had to move the power steering to the front, because I also had to modify the steering knuckle on this one, because this was for a box van truck that Ford made. I believe this is still a Ford axle. Disc brake out of a 88, 89 bread van. So it used to go out to here, because the box on that bread van was up here, which was a push and pull. Now it's left to right. This is a quarter thick, no, I forgot what the hell it was, but it's a thick ass wall chromoly with a bushing on the inside, so whenever this starts to wear out, it wears out the inside and not the chromoly. I did cut it off, preheat this thing before welding it together, and then running a second and a third weld pass through it. As far as the mounting was, I did have to make a plate on the inside, which will get gusset on the inside and on the back. But the key part here is, I guess they call it a crush sleeve or an anti-crush sleeve. It's where you actually core the hole bigger than it has to be, so you can insert a quarter thick wall chromoly tube in here. Once it's in there, I beveled the inside of the tube so that I could do a good weld, so I can grind it flush without losing any of the weld strength. So it's got a nice thick area to bite onto. Now I did give myself a gap because the fender comes down and goes like that. Needed that room. Another trick was the power steering lines. Where did that other one go? Oh, that was a good one. Here it is. So these newer Fords, I believe it's called the old one is a double flared, an inverted flare, versus the newer ones are these, it's like a inverted flare with the seal. So on the original one, I took the original pipe and plumbed it into my return, because it's a low pressure return. No point in having one made that I can steal off the old truck. Now as far as the new one, I learned that if you take a grinding wheel and you just go flush to that nipple and take a drill with a reaming tool on one end, you can actually replicate the flare. I'm trying to, there you go. No, there you go. No. Anywho, simply by taking the little rubber O-ring off and grinding it flush. Damn zoom. And the threads are identical to the ones on the high pressure side. So I did this knowing that this was a shitty line because it was seeping at the bottom. And I spun the motor and I got good pressure out of the power steering high pressure line with 0 leaks. So that should save you some money on cost. Literally, I could have just done the same thing to that one and plumbed it up, but whatever. Here you go, just a quick walkthrough. People were asking me why I didn't do the Crown Vic front end. Well, I don't want to be like everyone. You will not find anyone else out there with a disc brake, solid I-beam axle, leaf spring. And the heim joints are massive. Everything on this thing is massive and large. These tires are from a 91 F350. Still don't have a seat. I robbed the steering column out of the 94 F250. And the beauty of this one is the dually rear end, which just about tucks in fully under. Now this side has fender damage, but this side here does not. And you can see just how nice it tucks in. Now as far as a dash and interior, literally I'm like 4 days into this build, including the engine swap and the axle and all this other stuff. So it is going a little slower than I'd like. By now this thing should have been running. I'm considering making my own cluster also. So we'll see. Just a quick walkthrough for you guys doing power steering conversions.